Roger had to go get his laptop.
Yep. Hey everybody, welcome to the Growing with Fishes podcast. We got Spectrum King back again. They've been with us quite a few times before.
Stop it, guys.
They're always providing us some really awesome knowledge. So thanks again for joining us, guys.
Well, vote by us, man.
Thanks for having us.
Hey, just for our little pre-talk, I know you're going to share some hints of awesome knowledge. So I'm liking, I want to hear about what we can hear about it. I'd love to hear.
Sure. Yeah, we have a whole bunch of cool stuff going on.
Nice.
Hey, there's Tommy too.
Yep. Hopefully we don't echo. We might have to sit farther apart.
I'll mute my mic.
We may or may not be at the Batcave. But so thanks again for joining us, guys. We have Marty with us as well as Roger.
Howdy.
So a real quick thing. A big shout out to Ouroboros Farms. They've been helping us a lot, and we'll talk a little bit later about the Aquaponic conference, Aquaponic Association conference in Portland. Yeah. So thanks for you guys for joining us. And why don't you guys tell us a little bit what you guys have been up to? I know we're gonna all be hanging out here at MJ BizCon next week, which is one of the largest marijuana business convention in the entire United States or the planet. Really?
I would say this one is the biggest one in the world because it's 630 vendors. It's the whole convention center in Las Vegas. It's been moved from the Rio. It's more than twice the size of last year's show.
And it's sold out.
And yeah, so our preparation for this thing has got both of us pretty ragged. We've been pushing ourselves real hard. But we're launching some new toys, and we have also really improved the existing units. So we've come out with better thermodynamics and new heat sinks for the new 402 and the new X602, which supplant the 400 and the 600. We have better light engines, more light output. Tell them what the new 602 is putting out.
The 602, I mean, listen, we don't recommend it, but if you remove the glass, you're pushing over 100,000 lumens.
Wow.
Yeah. So we didn't just go up a few points. We went up like almost, without the glasses, like 18%, with the glasses, like 15% brighter. Yeah. So with the glass on, you're still almost 95,000 lumens. And it uses a little bit less power. It's using 630 watts instead of 650 watts. So my new nickname for it is the DEK. I'm sure you know what the K stands for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, then with our new flat flowering light, you know, that's going to shatter some records too.
Yeah, that's the low pro flowered reel. Or I don't really that picture he teased you with. I see. Yeah, we got a laptop joining us.
Roger's back.
Roger.
Sorry about that.
Let's see if we can see that.
That's that fixture on its side.
Yeah, turn to only 300 watts, so that's half power.
Wow.
And it's obviously this is the first prototype, and Or and I have a lot of work in front of us, but it's been a long road to get here. We didn't want to make something that had been done before, or that we saw the flaws in other people's things and their thinking. So when we attacked it from, if it's not much better than, and flat out cannot get hot, can't hurt itself. You can blast this thing. We could probably turn this thing up to 700 watts, and you can still grab it at any point in time.
Yep. Yeah, you know,
no moving parts.
That's really cool. And I know you guys have some other cool stuff, and you guys have a grow tent. You guys had a really amazing.
The IHP is the big secret. Not so secret anymore. It's a remote power system where we can actually use 480 volt three-phase power, and then we can run multiple lights off a individual power supply, and it's like a server rack type setup. So each blade of the server, each power supply can power 5 lights. So each shelf can power 40 lights. So you take the heat off the light. You're taking the, one little junction box instead of a big plug for each one all the way down the line. You can put one junction box for every 5 lights. So the installation is faster. You can use lower gauge wire. It's a win. You can program sunrise, sunset. You name that. You can do it with it.
Have you guys done much experimenting with the sunrise, sunset stuff in terms of
how long?
Difference?
The far
red. I find if you wake up plants peacefully, they perform better. You know, and it doesn't you don't need a long time to do that. It could just be 2 minutes. They just don't like to be slapped on, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's not only for a benefit for the plants, but it's also a benefit for your electronics. You know, all your lights turning on at one shot, you know, that current load it's a lot, you know. Over time, something's gonna give.
You know.
Right. Well, temperature change is ultimately what erodes just about all circuits. So
Sure.
Right.
you know, that's why they tell you to leave your computers on or different things on, is because being at a constant temperature allows them to function longer. So same concept.
Right. Well, just that big load, especially in a larger setup, you know, like some of the things we talked about, facilities with hundreds of lights. If we just had someone order 2,500 for one location, that's a stupid amount of amperage that's needed. If that all turns on at the same time, then you can take a city down, you know? So it's got to be that gradual ramp up. Room 1, then room 2, room 3, room 4, you know? And
well, no, because I mean, if they all turn on one, you get that huge spike, and then it goes back down, and that spike is gonna, you know, that can blow your breaker, and that can blow other things.
Very cool.
So what we liked about the power supplies is that, you know, if you look at old school digital ballasts, you know, you were not getting high efficiency out of them. Yes, they worked, no doubt about it. No one ever said they didn't work, but we're at the point now where our power supplies are busting 94, 95, and up to 98% efficient. So you're truly getting all that light instead of heat and light, which other things did. So it's really interesting. I mean, the IHP fully loaded, fully on, it just doesn't get hot. And the lights themselves are lukewarm because the driver is not on there building up residual heat on the heat sink. So the thing just sits there chilling like a villain all day. And if you want to blast it with a hose and clean them, you can with the lights on.
I know that was one of the cooler things you guys had at the last show I got to see you guys at, is they had a light that was inside of basically a clear shower stall.
Yep.
Here, check this out. This was actually filmed today. I don't know if you guys can see it.
The lights are on, and he's hosing them down. Every run he cleans out his garden, he's hosing the lights off while they're on.
All right.
Do that with anything else. You know what I'm saying? He would be caught dead. You see the lights are on, they're blasting that much, and he said, "You got to put this up." And he's just laughing because I told him he could do it. He's like, "Can I really do it?" I said, "Yeah, go ahead, blast them." We made them that way for a reason. If you're in a greenhouse and the glass breaks, all those gavitas are just going to become arc welders.
I was just going to say, do that with a gavita and see what happens.
Yeah, you take a glass shower and maybe an arc welding shower. You know, depending, you might get a lightning bolt if you get it right. I can't believe any bulb fixture. It looks great in a video. Not so good when it's you getting hit.
Especially for greenhouses where you have hail damage or earthquake or just high humidity, wind, snowfall breaking through the roof, like actual real chance of having water on the fixtures. You know, you're not going to want a Gavita or some of these CMHs or stuff because it's a fire hazard.
I don't know how they got certified to be in those environments. I don't know how it happened, because any inspector would go, "Wait a minute, that's not protected. If water touches it, boom." I mean, Gavitas, in one of the places we visited, a large facility, they were 600 degrees at the bulb.
That's insane.
I mean, you spit on that, it's going to, just explosion.
Oh, yeah. Not only that, I've had actually worked on reef tanks where I had a coworker drop a 400-watt light into a tank I was working on, and it threw me a good 4 to 5 feet across the room. Like, ejected me from the tank.
Did it kill everything in the tank, too?
Oh, yeah. All the fish were dead, and I was laying on the floor, like, stunned. Not fun.
I've taken a glass shower, many years ago. It was a Radiant 8 hood, and one of the guys got a bit overzealous in a foliar spray, and as I was walking by, I took my glass shower, and the bulb exploded, and, I survived it, but that was when I started thinking there's got to be a smarter way to do this stuff. And then, obviously with Ori and with Rami, we found a smarter way to do this stuff.
Actually, I got to talk to you guys. I'm working with Ed Rosenthal on a couple of different projects right now, and he's very curious on doing a side-by-side against like a whole bunch of different lights, and I totally
Yeah.
told him he should try an SK600. So I'll have to put you guys
Ed,
together.
3 years ago, Ed told me let's just put it was a less than cordial conversation when I said I had an LED for him to try. He was not so convinced or interested, but he's come around. He's reading up on stuff. At least I'll give him credit for that. He didn't close his mind altogether, but it was definitely a delayed reaction. A lot of guys that have been going for a long time, people in my age bracket, they think this is how you do it, and there's no other way, and that's that.
Oh, I get where they're coming from. So I actually built a lot of the early LEDs for
Sure.
aquariums and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and for home stuff, and like from scratch. And back in the day, yeah, they were inferior.
Yeah.
We what we used to do is we used to do that plus UVBs plus maybe a small fluorescent bulb to help get that full profile under, because they didn't have the diodes dialed in yet. But now they've really advanced on all that. So.
We have a customer in United Arab Emirates, and he bought like 12 of our Mother's Little Helpers. And I thought, what's this guy doing? And he sent me pictures. He has coral reef tanks and like an L around his walls, and he put them up, one every 3 feet, all the way around the room. And the fish love it. The coral loves it. He's amazed. It looks so clear. Those ones, to 5,000 Kelvin, so it's kind of like a noon sun. Perfectly clear of the water. It just he was running these other fixtures that were using like 3 times the power before.
Oh yeah, so allegedly when I worked for the aquarium industry, I used to sell a ton of lights to the growers, and the people with indoor grows and clone rooms and everything else, as long with the all the reef guys, because the lighting's the same. The same thing you need to get good leaf penetration and large plants is the same thing I need to do a 3 to 4 foot deep tank because of the light penetration going through water. The specifications are very similar. Both are photosynthetic organisms. The light spectrum isn't very far off from what plants need because it's photosynthesis. So they make great interchangeable lights. And if there's anyone out there that has a reef tank, Spectrum Kings are great lights for that too, as long as they can fit them within your hood.
The closer you get to natural sunlight, the more sense that makes, like you just said. Are you hearing voices?
Sorry, I just had we're in the process of getting all of our stuff in for Emerald Cup, and they're on the phone with Tommy right now and had a question, so I had to make sure our entry went through.
Cool.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show, some of the cool new extraction stuff we're working on.
Well, definitely, Or and I will look forward to seeing what you got going on there. Sounds, just by your description before we went on air about the aroma alone, it's got me like, I need to just see that.
Well, we got a chance to see some here in the next couple days. So
just the brief overview, we're going to be launching new engines, new bodies, and new fixtures. So the 400 Plus has been supplanted by the SK402, which is an all-white body with a brand new light engine. The SK600 has been supplanted by the SK602. New body, 2 different color schemes, white for greenhouses and black and gold for indoor. And then the low pro veg, low pro flower are brand new fixtures altogether that will be shown for the first time. And the IHP power system. Yeah, so we've been busy doing all this.
Yeah, I've had a chance to see some of the stuff that they haven't let out to the public yet that they're going to be showing off, and man, is it cool. I can't say a word about it or they'll kill me, but it's really cool, and you guys it's different than anything else that I've seen by far in the lighting industry, for sure.
We're about to do something that we're not, trust me, if you can't find our booth in Las Vegas, I'm thinking even Stevie Wonder can find our booth in Las Vegas.
Let's put it this way. We had to get clearance from the FAA.
Okay.
Let's put it that way.
Truth. We had to let that soak in. We made something so impressive, so noticeable that we had to get clearance from the FAA to use it.
Sounds good.
Yes. That stupid pyramid, it's about to get knocked over. I'll leave it alone if you figure it out.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I know you guys have been working on a whole bunch of other cool stuff too. I don't know, do you want to talk a little bit more about that low profile light? I got a chance to see that when out at Was it the Anaheim?
Yeah, you saw the low pro veg down in Anaheim. Yes, we had a couple on shelves there. Basically, all the vertical farming guys were like, hey, we like your other lights, but we can't fit them on our shelves. And we said, well, what are the specs? What do you need? Boom. Plant people to plant people. We said, this will do the job. We put it up, showed them, and they went, yeah. And his brother is doing an installation of 700 of these things already up in Adelanto. And the low pro flowering one, which Or and I really have been pushing on for a very long time. There's a lot more work than we thought it would be. It's going to be shown for the first time in Vegas.
Yeah, I mean, we just literally got the extrusions today. We're playing around with it.
We fired up the prototype and we got psyched. We saw it because to have the vision in your head to finally see it come to fruition, and it's been a long road, a lot of trials. It's a good thing, very good thing. And plus, other guys there that had negative opinions of us or said we couldn't do this or that because our lights were too tall or too small. We're like, and now we have these too. What else we got?
So actually, on that note, do you want to? I've got a chance to come to your guys' place once or twice, and you guys want to tell people everything else you guys do? You guys do all kinds of other kinds of lights, and you guys do custom lights depending on what it is that people need and the specifications or their crops.
Because we make our products ourselves, if you want a special twist to it, as long as it's not obscenely expensive, if you want a custom job, we'll make whatever you want, but you want to make something reasonable for you. I mean, or Rami, Rami's been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, listen, before we started LED grow lights, we were gardeners, but we also did commercial LEDs. So we did jobs for Tim Allen, Jay Leno, we did the Rose Bowl. We're doing the Rose Bowl right now. Yeah. Nuclear facilities, explosion-proof lights. So, extraction labs that need explosion-proof lights, we actually have that in LED. That's only scratching the surface of what we can do.
So we had a question from Chad. He goes,
sure.
At Spectrum King, do your lights have low electromagnetic fields? A lot of people, that's a great topic. I don't know, maybe you can touch on it. So if the ceramic metal halides and the high pressure sodiums put out pretty large electromagnetic fields.
Yes.
The downside to that is that if you have a guy in your neighborhood that's a hardcore old school nerd and has a ham radio or AM radio,
he's gonna scan. He's gonna go, it's over there.
Really figure out which room in your house you're doing your grow in.
That's what the guys from the power company with the smart grid that's in place now. They drive around the truck and they just scan houses. And if they see one with old school technology, the old core and car ballast and things like that, they say that's the one, and the police kick the door down and find the grow up. Our lights don't give off. I think we tried. No, there was one. We did do one. It was the first driverless board. Gave off some interference. Then we went back to shield the driver versions because we wanted to stay stealthy as possible. That's one of the things we take pride in, is that using our lights, nobody has a clue what you're doing.
That's great. Yeah, I know it's a really huge concern for people in less than legal areas.
Well, we got a bunch of guys who are veterans in states that don't see things the same way they should, as we do. And these guys want to do their little thing in a corner somewhere. We're like, that's why we named the closet case like that. You stick in a closet, throw a handful of plants in there, and you're good to go.
Absolutely. Marty, did you have any questions for the guys from Spectrum King?
Did you guys? I mean, obviously, you talked about some of the improvements that you made, and that you got more light and therefore less heat. You guys, did you guys measure any BTUs or anything in this? Do you know how much?
Yeah. As I mentioned, that the 602 uses 20 less watts than the 600 and gives off 15% more light. So every time you drop watts, you're dropping in BTUs. The HVAC labs that did the third-party test for our lights versus other people's lights came up with the same numbers I did. If the SK600, you can run 5.4 of them per ton of air conditioning. Because we're knocking 20 watts off each light, you can run 5.6 602s per ton of air conditioning. So we have guys now running 6 or 8 lights per ton, and they're not complaining.
Dude, I have guys running 40 lights on 5 tons. Like it's all how you manage your airflow. It's really all how you manage your airflow.
Right. Well, especially when you're dealing with so much less output per light at a time, right? Like that just makes your job easier, right?
Well, the thing is that with our lights, the BTUs you can measure with the old formula, 1 watt equals 3.412 BTUs. It's true because we have adequate metal in our fixtures and we're not giving off an excess of infrared light. That's why the bulb people always say, you know, you can run 3 gavitas per ton by the math. You know damn well you can't. Anyone that's run them knows that if you turn a Pro 1000 up, you're running 2 to 2.3 per ton for real.
Yeah, it also depends on your heat sink, you know,
Right.
how you're cooling it. It's like saying you have two of the same V8s. You have it in a Mini, then you have it in a freaking minivan. What do you think is going to win a race? You know, it's not, you're not comparing apples to apples.
If you put a V8 in a Mini, it would just sit on the ground.
I'm just saying, man.
But you're also making it less, you know, you're getting more efficient on, or less efficient on multiple levels. If you're cooling a Gravita, then it's becoming less efficient, and you're spending more power in order to cool the room more.
Right. That's why when people said to us, well, if your light uses 650 watts and their light uses 1150 watts, when even Gavita says turned all the way up, it uses 1200. They're saying you're only 45 or 44% more efficient. I said, hold on a second. We only create this many actual BTUs, and those less BTUs equals, it's 65 to 70% actual savings toe to toe in a room versus a Gavita because of all the heat they create. We create so much less heat. I mean, think of it this way.
Right.
5.4 SK600 per ton versus 2 Gavitas in a true test. That's you put 3 Gavitas on a 1-ton air conditioning unit, it will never turn off until it dies.
Right.
You know,
Well,
the truth is you can run 2. So if I have a 20 light setup, I only need 4 tons, and I'm golden with SKs. I need 10 tons with the Gavitas. So the power consumption for the air conditioning alone is obscene.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's, and I think that's exactly why, because you see that effect twofold, and people don't calculate, and a lot of people don't even calculate for how much their HVAC power consumes. They just want to compare watts to watts on the light, which I understand.
Get the whole picture. Sure, get the whole picture.
You guys talk about
fans, all of it. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Right.
You know, that and the heat that the LEDs do put off is beneficial. I mean, in some states, it gets freaking cold. Colorado, Michigan, you know, up north, it gets freaking freezing. You need to have high temps with LEDs. So if you, again, reuse your airflow and get all that heat moving around, you're benefiting your room.
Sure.
Well, reasonable amount of heat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it all depends on your climate, right? I mean, that's, you know, what's happening outside, whether, you know.
We were speaking to a gardener in Seattle a couple days ago, and he was saying, well, the temperature in my room is only this much, that. And I go, that's kind of cold, you know, for your plants. He goes, well, I'm just using a third bay in a garage with no AC and no heat, nothing. And he goes, the plants are happy, you know, they're just kind of stunted. I go, well, yeah, 72 degrees would be stunted for under an LED grow. And that's something I want to get across, that I tell people under our lights, LEDs 83 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit at the plant canopy is very good. 70% humidity or a little better is what you want. But some guys just can't wrap their head around humidity and that temperature, because for so many years they've been doing it a different way. It's very hard for them to go, I can try this. When they do, they go, oh, there it is.
I go 60. I go 60%.
Yeah, I don't even run my dehumidifier right now, and haven't been since I've been running just LEDs in mine, and it fluctuates between 50 and 70% all the time. And all of my buddies are like, "You're fucking crazy! You're gonna get PM." I'm like, "Well, you know, I didn't, and I haven't. So,
yeah.
What else do you want me to say?" Like,
the hotter the air, the more moisture it holds in balance. Look at the VPD chart. Well, I didn't reinvent the wheel. All I did was follow plant science, and it just like you just said, you don't get it because it can't happen if the conditions are right.
Right, and I think it has a lot to do with temperature swing as well. Like,
right, and a dew point.
Right, and so a lot of people, I feel like, do that. You know, they turn on the dehumidifier and then they don't think about like temperature change in their room. Like, a lot of people could do a lot better with just how they program their AC systems, and when their lights turn on and off just by the time of day. You know, you can,
one of the guys I spoke to with yours drops his humidity half an hour before lights go off by an exhaust fan in his room. Just exhausts the air for 5 minutes, the humidity drops, and his lights go off, and it's boom.
Right, and a lot of people just put their fan on the same timer that their lights are on, right? The exhaust fan, you know, like especially in home grows, you see that all the time. Exhaust fan turns on and off with the lights, and
it should be coming on with a humidistat instead.
Yeah, If it sets, if you have your set points, you have like a hum 1 or something like that, you can set your high-low point. Yeah, the fan will come on with it.
Right. Almost all home grows I see though, just that's how they end up though. It's like they, you know, they only want to buy one timer, and you know they're only growing their 6 plants or whatever.
Yeah.
You know? So I just think it's important for people to remember, you know, to offset the temperature change the best that you can. And if you're really concerned or having issues with PM, you know, the old adage of, you know, you got to be below that, you know, 40% humidity or whatever in order to not get it, you know.
Well, what's his face? Big Mike from Advanced still talks about 40% humidity.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, 30 years ago, that's what people did, man. But I've met Mike. I worked with him years ago. I'm surprised he still says that.
Dude, he told me that. He told me that 3 weeks ago, and I was just like, dude, what's your silica ppm? Because you know, if you get your silica and your calcium dialed in, you'll actually have a much better defense. And then, not only that, I've actually. So this is something that I talked about at the Aquaponics Association for the first time publicly, but I'll talk a little bit on the show. If you take the plant proteins that are the precursors for the main proteins that are responsible for the plant's immune system, and you use an organic extraction process, which I'm not going to tell you that part, but we have an organic extraction process where we can take the proteins that are responsible for the plant's immune system response, isolate them with a process using ingredients that you can eat, and the final product is consumable. You can drink it, so you know there's no issue. It's completely harmless to fish, which is the other cool part. And I can boost the levels of response in the plants for their immune system because the plant simply has a significantly higher protein count for the base building blocks for the main proteins responsible for immune system response, or for chlorophyll A or chlorophyll B production, or which I've talked to you guys about a little bit privately, or some of the other stuff that you can do. So we've actually been mapping them out and working with different microbial inoculants, similar to the manner that like Mammoth P is kind of doing, only a little bit different rabbit holes, and you know, really exploring that, especially because they're all fish safe. They're great for aquaponics. They work just as good for lettuce as they do for cannabis. So,
well, the short chain peptides in the plant, the building to make the proteins. I know where you're going with this. I mean, if you can stimulate that, what I call secondary metabolite production, your plant's going to be healthier and last longer. Boom, you know.
And you don't even have to use pesticides to get rid of mold.
No, you
don't.
Can
literally make the plant so resistant to it, or have such a good immune system to it, that it'll take care of the problem itself. That's the thing that people have forget, because everything is so damn hybridized and so weak to certain things, because we've read for the wrong traits and not for the right ones. And so if I can take that and compensate that via a separate mechanism, not necessarily genetics, but for just immediate response, I can tweak that a lot in an organic method that doesn't use any synthetic compounds.
You could just use chitin.
Yep.
I mean,
that's one of them.
Exoskeleton of insects, like insect frass, chitin stimulates the production of those short chain peptides, which then make more secondary metabolites. It sours the milk for bugs. They smell that. They go, oh, I'm not touching this plant, because they're predators. They want to hunt an easy kill. They want a tough plant. My friend that was growing with frass years ago, a big burly dude, he didn't even have filters or screens or sealed rooms. And he never had any bug problems. And everyone thought, you're crazy. Your stuff's going to get all screwed up. Never did. Because he was stimulating plants the right way.
Yep. We've had amazing results. Sorry for the vacuum pump going on in the background. Maybe someone else was. Roger, do you want to ask them a couple questions while we're running the vacuum pump?
I actually just got here. I'm coming into the tail end of the conversation. I really don't even know. I went and got my laptop, and it took a crap. I mean, I don't know. It just went black on me when I tried to turn it on from next. I just grabbed it next door, ran back over. So, no, I want to say hi, Brendan and Orr. It's great to have you back on the show. Hey. Sorry, I had technical difficulties that kept me from being in the conversation. But I really don't know what y'all are talking about. So I'm going to hang here, and I'll open my mouth when I have something to say, I guess. But thanks for asking. Hi, Marty. How you doing, buddy?
Good. How you doing, Roger? Sorry, here I got a laptop, man.
I smoked a bowl of that Blue Dream too. The second one I told you was that had that smell. I've never smelled anything like it. I got so stoned I scared myself.
Blue Dream will do that to you.
Oh yeah, but I got two different plants. One doesn't, and then I did this other one the other night. And I went, holy shit, you know. But the strawberry kush and the pineapple haze are incredible too. I got, oh, you know me, man. Don't make me start rattling my jars now.
Or no. Oh, I see your jar, and hold on. Bring in dessert. Forget that little jar there. Bring in the dessert, okay?
There you go.
Yeah. And that's just one of the, or he's been busy. He's much better with scissors than me. I'll leave it alone. And we actually got something to help us with trimming because I suck at trimming, so now we got a Centurion Pro to try it out.
I do have one question unless you got something else. I mean, we're kind of shooting the shit.
Hey, I know we got a little bit of noise going on. I just want to show off. This is the viscosity of our new concentrate.
Wow.
It's like water.
I know it is. That's really thin.
So vaping it all day long.
Yeah, it's pure terpenes, pure cannabinoids, zero.
Would that be really cool on a hash bell? I think that'd be interesting thing to try with.
You know what's funny? The thing that I found works the best, like aside from doing it off of clean glass, as far as the taste, is we've actually taken it and we clean. So we get enough on the gaskets to where it gets on your fingers when you're replacing it. So what we do is we wipe them down with rice papers, and then we roll it into a joint. Holy shit! Do you get high?
So that's like having a 99 octane joint, basically, right?
I was the highest I have been in years last night. We did that for the first time just as an experiment, and I could barely walk back to where I'm back to the bedroom.
And you're a regular smoker, like me. I'd be hospitalized with an IV drip for a couple of days till I woke up.
Yeah, man.
Same kind of stuff. Not the same stuff, obviously.
Yeah. It's similar, same process as what we did with when we came to visit you, Marty. But we've improved upon the process and got it even better than where we were at the time.
Nice.
Hold on.
See, you took your jar out. You guys showed your jars of weed, and Or got hungry. So.
So here you go. If you guys aren't used to seeing.
Oh man, Or you got to see this. Or.
I thought you guys might like a little sneak peek of. A little just making sure. So this is actually some stuff that's going to turn into some of our sublingual powder.
You see, just in case you're wondering, my birthday is next month.
Yeah.
So
mentioning now.
Hey, mine's in 2 months. Mine's in 2 months.
We all got birthdays. Keep it coming.
Yep, I'm in February. Right after Valentine's Day.
Normally I'm back at the house, but we're still at the lab. We have a nice little couch here at the lab, so we've been working, and then this is not an exaggeration, 24/7. Like we have 3 people, and we all take an 8-hour shift, and we work until this is all ready because we've been cranking out stuff for Emerald Cup entries.
Wow.
I have a bunch of Emerald Cup entries, and we're trying to get everything ready, and as well as make sure we have some samples for MJ BizCon and stuff like that. So we've been kind of in full till mode to make sure we can meet our normal obligations, plus, trying to come up with the best of the best for entry to Emerald Cup. So.
Well, if that process, you get it locked down and can use it. I know some guys are doing big things. They'd be really interested to see it because that sounds like
we can scale this infinitely too. We can scale this infinitely too. I mean, we can scale this up to hundreds or even thousands of pounds per day off of just a handful of machines. So.
Wow. Well, I guess we'll be talking about that another date, and I'm gonna have to, expand what we do, or we have to get some of his machines going.
Absolutely. Yeah. I know you guys didn't have a ton of time. I just wanted to see if you guys need to run soon, or if you guys have a few more minutes, or where you guys are at.
So I didn't catch you. Broke up on me.
Oh, I just wanted to make sure you guys need to get running soon, or I know you guys didn't have as much time today as before. If
you have any questions at all, fire at will. That way we can get answers for you.
Absolutely. I'd like to know more about your new light, the one with that you showed. Steve was in a video, and you walked over and you had that electronic controller that you could move everything up and down, and you had this light with little tiny lights on looks like one piece of angle iron is what it looked like.
Yeah, that's the low pro veg light, and it was hooked up to our IHP, which is our remote power system where you can dim, control, sunrise, sunset, all that stuff. That's for commercial gardeners who are vegging on pallet racking. So we made something which fits between the beams on pallet racking and only weighs a few pounds and just sits right in there. And it's powered off on that big unit you saw me touching the screen on in Steve's video.
Right.
Yeah. And that's just a Windows program. You use your index finger to do all of it.
Oh, so you just put a Windows program on your computer and then run the light with it?
And then we have a USB connecting to our controller, which then connects to the big power supply array, and it's all programmed to work together.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And for those of you
I
guys that
wasn't
are
sure.
curious,
I knew you had that program to where you could use it. I wasn't sure if that light was operational without that hardware.
Well, because we made it high voltage for commercial gardens, we'd have to make a standard voltage unit now for the person who wants to get one to use it at home.
Okay, but somebody like me with a greenhouse, you said so 220 is what you're talking about, high voltage?
No, that one actually runs at 480 volt three phase.
Oh, 480. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
we
I think
have,
you mentioned that. I think you mentioned that in the video. Yeah.
and we make light engines that run at higher voltages because you can run wire longer distances with less wear off, you know? So
Yeah.
it's a lot cheaper to install in big scale things. But in a greenhouse, I wouldn't put a low pro fixture. I'd put one of our 600s or something up there that can blast the distance down you need it to hit.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, I'm not using a greenhouse because I'm in a, as Steve likes to say, a less than legal state. So I'm only a 6. You know, I barely grow 6 at a time. So I'm, you know, I'm still using, and I'm still on HIDs. You know,
Sure.
I've got some cheap LEDs I bought because I teach on a forum, and everybody's buying them. So you can't teach or tell them that they're crap or they do an okay job for what they are unless you get with them. So.
Sure.
And I don't have an extra 14 or 15 hun laying around, so I've been a little bit behind it. I mean, I'd love to buy one of y'all's lights, man. I tell you what, I've seen the results, and I love the concept you got too.
What size grower do you have?
Like basically a 6 by. Well, I've got a room that's 8 by 8 cut up into 6 by 8.
Okay.
So basically a 4 by 6, 6 by 6 area.
Yeah. There just wouldn't be too many, you know. A high ceiling. You do trays, things like that?
I've got 8-foot ceiling.
Okay. Well,
You know, 7 to 8 foot, somewhere in there, 7 to 8 foot.
yeah. We'll figure something out. Steve will work some magic with that jar of his. Hint, hint. And you know, we'll see. Maybe there's something with that. I don't know.
So I just wanted to say on this note, since they're on the show, we've actually used a bunch of Spectrum King lights over at the Ouroboros Farms, which is one of our vegetable farms, which is part of Purity Medicinals now. Man, he's had such good luck with the Spectrum Kings for seedling starting. He does a lot of germination under Spectrum Kings, and I think he's going to be one of the people that is really looking forward to seeing your low profile light, and especially for the Aquaponics guys, and the low profile stuff for germination and stuff on a commercial scale. This is going to be huge. I mean, this is better than anything that's out there in terms of.
And because we can adjust the output, you know, depending if you're dealing with lettuce or dealing with whatever, we can change the whole thing. The power options are really fine tuned. Yeah,
that was cool. That was so cool what y'all come up with. I was blown away when I watched that. Not many people doing it that way.
Do you guys have any plans of doing a flower version of your low profile light?
Yeah,
yes, we do. Whereas we're launching it next week in Vegas.
A few people that are very interested in doing multiple tier grows in states that count canopy size. Some of them count multiple vertical canopies, and some of them don't.
Yeah, so the footprint. They're doing it in Maine. They do it by square foot.
Right. So in Oregon and California, so far it's by county. So some counties will allow you to go vertical and stay inside the same footprint, which is obviously very profitable if you can have the right amount of output in a small enough footprint, in a small enough space. And so that's been difficult to accomplish, obviously, up until some of them. Now, like the light that I have on demo from VividGrow. Have you guys seen VividGrow's light? VividGrow V2, I think it is.
Yeah, I think I've seen it.
It's like a heavy red spectrum. It's a mix of white.
Yeah, and the shell is like gray, right?
Yeah, it's black. It's like a flat black, and the top is gray. You guys could check it out. I have it on demo. I just finished a run with it, and it was pretty good. It's about 600 watts. It's highly efficient in terms of, has good power, not that much heat output, and all that kind of stuff. And it's spread out a lot more than
It's big.
Yeah, it's
Big.
it's a lot more like your low profile light that's got a, the lights themselves are spread out as opposed to a dense beam that you guys.
Well, you have your point source, which is like our 600, which is meant for taller plants and penetrating deeper.
Right.
And the arrays, or spread out fixtures, are meant for shorter plants in smaller areas. So if you're vertical farming and you have this, let's go with pallet racking, so it's 4x8 shelves. And if the state only counts the square footage on the ground and you have 3 shelves up, you need the power for it, but that's a hell of a lot more growing you got going on.
Yep.
Right.
One of our good friends in a different state had 3 levels, and he after just 2 runs, he took a level out because these people just couldn't work it. It was just too hard to get at the plants in those small shelves. So he made his shelves about 6 feet now, and people can get through there and work on the plants a lot easier. So it seemed like a great idea to have a lot more layers until you have to work on it.
Right. I guess how tall your building is, right? I mean, if you can go 3 high at 6
Oh,
feet,
yeah.
then great.
We have someone building a facility. It's going to be 32 feet high inside, and he wants to go crazy levels. I'm like, hey, we'll make whatever you want, man, but good luck with working in that.
Right.
Well,
You
the key
build
is
the lights, but you're not
it's
going
the
to
same.
plants, right? That's
It's
basically.
the same as doing rosin pressing. Like you want thin, long, and not deep because you want to maybe have only 2 plants deep. I would not want to do any more than 2 plants deep because maybe 3 have a center and one that's easy accessible from each side. Because other than that, it's going to be brutal to lean in and actually trim the damn things.
I saw someone doing single coil autoflower, 25 per 4x4, and the plant's only 2 feet tall. But like, if there's a problem in the middle, you have no way of knowing. You can't even see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that, tell me how good your airflow is in the middle of that. Explain to me how you're not going to get molded and everything
I just
else.
went to a garden a few weeks ago with that's that problem. I looked inside and he said, "What are you doing?" I got down to eye level at the plant level, at the top of their pots and their Rockwell cubes, and I looked through and I said, "Look, 8 inches that way, 18 inches that way. It's all dead under there." And he goes, "What are you doing?" And he goes, "Get down here, look." And I hear him go, "Oh shit." He told me, and I said, "Well, he told you there's no airflow here. These leaves are all dead, crinched, hanging down like this in there."
It's funny, dude. You'll find people that really know what they're doing, but they don't realize that the Muppets that they're working under them are totally effing up. I actually had a guy in Denver take me out to a grow, and it's supposed to be one of the best in all of Denver. And I go into one of the rooms, and it was actually sponsored by a nutrient company who I won't mention the nutrient company because I don't have a problem with them, but their particular consultant on this job was a total complete fucking idiot. So what happened was this guy was supposed to be taking care of the room with their nutrients and their IPM, and he didn't trim the old damage from spider mite damage. They had spider mites in the beginning of the grow and veg, so he didn't trim off the old damage. So I asked him, I said, "So how do you know what's new and what's old?" "I don't." And he goes, "Oh no, I hit this room really hard. No, it's fine." So I go through and I find just like plant after plant after plant that are just completely infected with live infestations. And I'm like, dude, this whole
You
room
burn
is
your clothes when you left.
like they literally had to throw out over $120,000 worth of plants in that room because I pointed out what happened. The guy got fired on the spot within 20 minutes of me pointing that out.
Wow.
Well, he kind of earned it if you like to go that bad. Jesus.
No shit. It's supposed to be medical too.
What kind of idiot runs a commercial grow and doesn't even pull off damaged leaves?
Well, that guy used to apparently, and now he's unemployed. I don't.
It's just one of those things that's like there's so many people on the supposed upper echelons of the industry that just I just can't comprehend how they made it there.
Doesn't it count for weight?
Exactly. You think one of the facilities in Denver I went to, same thing. They said, I'll leave their name out, but I got inside their facility with one of our other coworkers, and we just stopped. We were trying to be polite. We looked at each other and we said, "There's nothing we can do for these guys.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing we can fucking do for them. There's no hope. It's over."
Dude, I've had 6 clients like that where I walk in and I'm like, this is a zoo on insects that can infect plants. In fact, there was a guy in San Diego that had scale, 5 species of mites, 2 species of aphids, and some insect I hadn't seen before.
Dude, I've like only seen scale once on a plant. How the fuck do you get scale?
Outdoor.
Yeah,
maybe,
so
you know
not
what I'm
only
saying?
that,
Like,
it was in a grow bed, a grow tray with nothing but ACDC. How the fuck
Oh,
do you get
ACDC is a
scale?
finicky fuck.
How do you get scale all over your thing? And I look at the mom plant, and the mom plant's got scale, and I'm like, oh, okay. But then, like, to infect that plant in the first place, there's only like 3 species of scale that can even digest cannabis.
well,
So
yeah,
what
maybe
the
he needs
fuck?
some of these. Give him some of these, because apparently, if he can't see that, you know, that's why I call when I go in the garden, I see what I see. If I suspect anything, I call over Eagle Eye over here, because Aura can see that stuff. Because I can't see it anymore. I admit my eyes suck. So if I suspect, I call in the eyes. I wouldn't just go, oh, it's okay, it's fine. I'll just keep going like this. No. Yes.
Well, some of the mite species really can be very hard to detect early on. Very hard.
Yeah, but you can see the. I mean,
But
you
see the
can't
damage,
kind of see signs, but yeah, it is hard.
I can't see a russet mite or broad mite to save my life, even with a magnifying glass. You know.
The best way to tell the mite damage, especially with the early onset, is to backlit against your lights. So squat down and kind of crawl around at like like almost like knee level, and then look up against your plants, and you'll see the damage long before you ever see the mites or the shadows, one or the other.
Mm.
I like to use a green light too. I know like people like to use it when our lights are off and all that other stuff, but even if you just used like a green spotlight, even when the lights are on and you shine it on there, I feel like it helps it helps you have more of a contrast by really lighting up the green plant against the bug. And it really helps me spot them anyway. So
with Smooth Science, we're working on a fixture which is specific nanometer ranges of blues, because we found through research that you can actually sterilize, slow them down, and even stop them with specific bandwidths of light shining up at them from underneath.
Oh.
And you won't hurt the plant. Because I'm all about getting pesticides the hell away from our plants. I'm all for people getting tested and showing it's clean and healthy. So this is new science, and I stuck my face in it now. Rami's trying to push me to go a little deeper with it. I think that's going to be the future of our stuff. We're going to find ways to beat them, like you said, Stephen, earlier, smarter. Build up the plant's immune system first of all, but also treat the plant in ways that doesn't negatively impact its future, meaning when we ingest it.
right, our future when we ingest it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well,
Exactly. Well, especially with concentrates. I don't want to concentrate a pesticide, but if I can just make the plant slough off the mold or insect better, I don't have to spray it with something that I have to worry about concentrating at all, ever. And it makes it for a better consumer product.
Enzyme, you win.
Exactly. So I don't have to, or using other organic stuff that's completely benign. Chitin is a great one. Where I don't have to worry. I'm not going to concentrate it. If I do a concentration, it's not going to strip anything from that and concentrate it in my final product. That happens a lot with different pesticides. So,
on this blue lights you're working on, are those going to be? Is that going? Do they have any advantage to the growth? Do they add any growth? Or that's what I mean.
No. Yeah.
Okay. It's just merely for the pest and the.
This is something this is new science, first of all, so it's not even built yet. It's going to take me another year to even get this thing prototyped out. But the idea being, at a few minutes here and there, you use this, particularly lights on, lights off, to make sure there's like fungus gnats. You can wipe them out with it facing down over your plant thing, and then shining through just a few stretches during the day to break down or stop any other bugs that may be impacting your plant underneath the canopy.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. I thought that's where you were going with it.
No, because if you throw light up under a plant, if it wants to use the light, the leaves will try to turn over to get to it.
It's not natural.
No, it's not. So it's just meant specifically to help mitigate some pests and pathogens.
Is that why I've actually tested some of the earlier. I've tested some other supplemental LED lights, and they were designed to be hung through the canopy for supplemental light to give the plants light in the center and lower part of the canopy. And is that why sometimes I get like really funky leaf growth, almost like I monster cropped it, where I'll get like funky growth as far as new growth doesn't always have. It'll turn.
Yeah.
But I've also had ones where it had, you know how like you're familiar with monster cropping, yes?
Sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So you know how it gives single and 3 and 4 and fewer fingered leaves?
Yeah.
Had some of that as well, and it always made me wonder if that increased my chance of herming, because it felt like I was increasing the stress hormone, or at least to that, but I didn't know if that was the same one that was responsible for that. Maybe you guys can talk on that a little bit.
I don't think it would cause a hermy, but you are causing stress. I don't think it would hermy the plant, though.
If you're stimulating the plant in an aggressive way, which negatively impacts its health, and it's showing you through visual expression deformities, stop what you're doing. Please get that thing away.
If it's a weak genetic, you're going to see the signs, very fast. So obviously it's all genetic based, but yeah, it's not natural for light to come up under the leaf. A lot of guys are implementing side lighting, which is fine if they're using it at the right levels.
I'm a big proponent of side lighting. I've almost doubled my yield on plants.
As long as you're using it at the right levels, as long as you're using it at the right levels.
Yeah, see, that's what they're saying. Everybody out there, they're saying you can't shoot the light to enhance growth from the underside of the leaf.
No.
But side lighting can still be good as long as the angle's above the leaf.
Right. Something along the 45-degree angle, not too far away.
I kind of angle it like this. I bring them down under my HID, and I have them at an angle. So that they're kind of covering the whole side of the canopy. That's
your plant the side branches will reach out to that light because it's more impacting for them. But if you have a better light source to penetrate from the top, you would get the same effect.
Yeah. It's hard. Sometimes I used to grow natural, and I used to grow natural, so my plants were always 5 or 6 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't, you couldn't penetrate the canopy far enough. That's where I started. And in fact, one of the times I got a pound out of a plant indoors was with a 250 watt HPS side lamp, and on the top was 1,000 watt on a 6-foot light mover. That's for you, Tommy. It had a 6-foot light mover, and it was going back and forth across. And the one plant, and I said, man, this is nice. And it was getting like a little weepy and really heavy on the sides. I put that 250 over there, and I got 9 colas that were over 5 ounces wet, which dried to about an ounce, ounce and a half a piece. But if you start off with 9 colas, I super crop the top. What I do when I do it like that, I just break the top over, and then I get 8 secondary colas that grow almost as big or just as big. And so when you start a plant like that, and you've only cut the 9 colas, and you've got 10 to 12 ounces, you're on your way. All the rest of it is Merry Christmas. So
if you vegged it longer and super cropped it a few times, you would have had like 20 colas in that same plant.
Yeah. Well, I've got limited space, and when I find that when I do that, my plants are getting too wide. Now, I have done the last time I did super cropping. I did the whole plant super cropping, but Marty and I talked about this last week. I lost a bunch of yield. I didn't get near the yield. Well, of course, it's new genetics I hadn't tried. It was our fruity pack, which was pineapple haze, strawberry kush, and blueberry. Now, we know blueberry is not going to grow gigantic indoors generally, but and then I did a couple of blue dream, because I was so I did, that was my grow, and so I don't really know, because I had just grown an OG Kush where I got 2 plants. I got 1.5 pounds.
Nice.
And that was with one little cheap $100 LED as a side light. I won't mention the company, but
if you're mixing spectrums and you're lighting your plants, what I always wanted for people, myself included, is good quality and a good yield for what I do. But
I just want enough to last me till the next grow's over, and if I've gotten to where my method is that way, and my quality is going up every single time. Mm-hmm. And I've been really happy that I finally figured out exactly how I can do what I need, because I'm not in the commercial business. I'm just taking care of my own meds and the wife, and that's it. Maybe I'll share with a friend a little bit, but that's it. I don't sell it or give it away or anything like that, really.
It's just maintenance,
Yeah, so it's just, so I'm happy as shit, like you said, as long as I'm getting one. Now, yes, would I like to have a even better quality? Well, at some point you say, can I get better quality? I'm sure I can, when I start. Yeah, there's always a way to get a little better quality.
There's people on this podcast who can help you with that.
So many people.
Yes.
And I feel that same way too. Like I kind of get on myself sometimes too because I never grow the same way twice in the way that I can't do comparisons. The way I want to. I'm limited by plant count and by
Space
regulations and by so many different things. And now, I'm getting ready to move to a new house because I couldn't grow outdoor here anymore. And so indoor for me went from like this hobby that kept me busy in the wintertime to being the only place I can grow. So it was, it's obviously a lot different depending on what you're doing with it. Like, I just wanted some plants in the wintertime that I could play with. So I didn't feel like I was, going to blow up in the wintertime because I didn't have anything to do and no plants to grow. So, I had some little LEDs. Actually, my first ever grow, I think, was just some CFL lights from like Costco or something, and just playing around with aquaponics in the garage. And so to like just to see the difference in terms of what your goals are changes so drastically from like just it means more to me now that it's the only place that I could grow at the moment for the last year or so. But also when I go to some of my friends' places that have big grows, whether they have gavitas or big LED grows or all the different places you see it. Like, I mean, lighting is it just there's so many different phases of it depending on what you need and what your priorities are. Like Roger was just talking about. I just need to produce enough to fit in my space and produce what I needed to get me to my own smoke and. So it just put things on a different perspective, which is what makes it a great topic for the podcast because we can go through so many different stuff. And I think it's cool that you guys do different lighting stuff than just the lights that you put out. Obviously, you guys put out the your normal models, if you will, but on top of that, you'll do specialized stuff that only go into a certain space, or like you guys were just talking about the low profile stuff that you got feedback saying, hey, we need this. We can't fit your lights in our space, even if we do love them. It's great and everything's awesome. They don't physically fit. You can go, hey, we can fix that. And then you build it. You build it right here. So
we apply the same theory about quality and spectrum, available benefit and intensity, just in a different scale.
Right.
Although I will say the flowering low pro is going to be a freak of nature.
Yeah. Can't wait to see it because that was really cool. I loved it when everybody's going with the bigger cob lights, and then all of a sudden you come up with something new with these little tiny little lights, and it looks like it'll just rock. So I'm waiting to see.
It's again by getting into so many different grow operations, the way people grow, we have to figure out. We have to sit back and go, well, for this application, we probably should do something a little more like this, like that. And after a while, we start seeing a formula, and we get the idea. You say, I have a job. This is what I have. I have a greenhouse. I need this, that, and the other thing. We go, okay, bing, we need this intensity at the canopy. We need this kind of power he has on site. Bing, here's the package. It might be as simple as a reflector kit, or it might be a different fixture, depending on your setup. So we just kind of build things to suit, and because we build this stuff ourselves, kind of makes it easier.
Just we ask ourselves the question, would we use it in our own gardens? Yes or no? If the answer is no, we don't build it. If the answer is yes, we build it. Simple.
Very cool.
So while we have you guys, read one last question here for you guys.
Sure.
So if people are using foliar sprays or nutrient foliar sprays or pesticides, would you recommend using them at the beginning of the light cycle or the end of the light cycle? Because I've heard, not me specifically, but that's the question that the person has heard.
I have to rotate the question into two parts. If I was foliar spraying to feed, I'm okay with the beginning of the light cycle.
Right.
Because that's more of a watery thing. It's going to run off. I might even do a carbonated water spray during the light cycle.
Yeah, because that's low ppm. That's fine.
But if I'm using anything with oils in it, that's just before lights off at the end. Let the plant process it overnight to heal, and then the next day come back at it. I wouldn't want to spray oil in the morning. Be it neem, be it whatever you're going to use. Anything with oily viscosity to it, it's a bad idea to spray before lights come on.
Why not use a green light? Like I believe you guys sell a green light.
Yes, we do. Yeah.
what about using it and just doing it after dark, after the lights are completely out, and using
Yeah,
green light?
you can do that. I mean, I generally do it when the lights are like 10 minutes from going off, 15 minutes from going off. That way I get to see what I'm doing.
You run out there like idiots. Shit, lights going off. Get out there. Go.
Yeah,
No, that's not with HPS lights, just to me.
Yeah, just to
It's like there are times where I'm in there foliar spraying the bottoms. It's like I'm down there, and lights turn off. I'm like, shit,
crap.
where the fuck am I at?
Especially when you're in the middle of a bigger grow room, you're like, shit, I gotta navigate out here. And God damn it, I left my cell phone over in the other room because it was charging. I was listening to my podcast earlier, so like now I gotta like crawl out of here by feel alone because this room is.
I leave the room by the dim light of the Titan controller.
Right.
You can see a little dot. That's over there. The AC's over there. The DV's there. I see a little dot. Takes a walk this way.
I've been there.
Follow the light.
I was actually recording a video in the grow room, and I forgot because of the time change.
Oh wow!
My timers don't automatically adjust for daylight savings, so I thought I would still had another hour, and I was in there working, and the lights turned off, and I was like, "Wait a minute!" I didn't have my cell phone or any, like I had nothing in there, and it was pitch black. I had to wait for my eyes to adjust so I could squeak my way out. But that was pretty funny.
Well, you know what? That's a great thing that we bring up is that, while those light sources are great when we end up in that situation, those light sources can also cause your plants to not go fully to sleep and cause you herming and other things, which I don't know, maybe you guys want to talk about a little bit, but that can be a huge problem. Even light bars, the red light and yellow light and white light on power strips.
Yeah, well, if you have a sconce light or something like that that's giving off enough to hit the plant with even like 80 micromoles, you could hermium out. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. It takes 4 hours for a plant to go to sleep and 2 hours for a plant to wake up. That's if it doesn't receive the proper spectrum to put it to sleep or to wake it up. So whether your lights turn off immediately or they turn on immediately, that doesn't really mean your plants are waking up or going to sleep.
It's all about the phytochrome, correct? The phytochrome reaction.
Yeah, but yeah, you can trick a plant with different light sources, but it's all about the intensity of it. Like even if you have a green light in your room, because plants do use green light, they use 85% of it. They reflect 15%. But if it's a low intensity where what's hitting the canopy is in 20, 30, 40, 50 micromoles, you're not going to do anything stupid. But if you have one of those sconce lights that's on all the time, that's enough to get plants confused. And when plants get confused, they tell us by going those little balls that make us all sad.
Yeah. But one thing I thought was interesting, Steve, do you remember when we had Mr. Green Jeans on a couple of weeks ago? He was talking about how that he wasn't convinced that light stress alone would cause herming.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So it was Mr. Green Jeans. I wasn't sure. I thought, I knew the last couple of weeks, but I remember that too. Yeah, he's not convinced, and I've done some sloppy stuff too, or had some situations where I did have some light in the room, but not directly on the leaves. So,
yeah, I think it's about that direct source in that the minimum amount, like he was talking about, that 40 micromoles. Like if it's not intense enough.
Right. Well, because you have moonlight plants.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you do the measurement, that's why I said the numbers I said. Once you break that little brighter than moonlight, the plants think they're supposed to start waking up, and then if it goes back off, then back on, then back off, you confuse the shit out of them.
I mean, our in this neighborhood, I mean, the power did go off a few times, and that did screw up our timer. We were about 4 or 5 weeks in the flower.
Yeah.
And I mean, I want to say in a week span, 4 days got really fucked up, where the lights were on for 3 hours extra, or they cut off for 8 hours. We didn't hermy because the plants were already far into flower. They didn't hermy, which was great.
It's genetics too. It's like Steven said earlier, some strains have been stretched so far, they're susceptible to a lot of things. I mean, there's a reason why people are getting back to land-raised strains to kind of rejuvenate healthier stock.
Yeah, that's exactly what Mr. Green Jeans was saying too. It has to be poor genetics combined with a small amount of stress.
It's like the perfect storm is stupid, if you will. Weak plant, bad environment, and stress. Yeah.
Unstable.
Actually,
So I like
I got
that.
a chance to work with. I got a chance to do some extraction this week on plants that came from a 1970s lineage, and have only been back crossed with other landrace from Southeast Asia.
We talking
I
about
could
little
say
tie
more.
going on over here, I hear?
We can have a conversation tomorrow. Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go visit the Spectrum Key guys tomorrow. So,
Nice.
anyways,
Oh, man, lucky you.
lucky them.
Oh,
We're gonna bring them some goodies.
oh, lucky them, right? Okay. Yeah, us
yeah.
over here on the East Coast. Yeah, don't even get me started on goodies.
Hey, soon enough, Jersey's gonna legalize here in the next.
It's a
8
free
months.
country, Roger. You can move over here anytime you want.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. I can take my whole farm and move it to California. Yeah.
Just hook it up to some balloons like in that Disney movie.
Cut all the posts off my greenhouse and put them.
I don't know, Roger. You can shave your beard and cut your hair. You might even kind of look the part. I don't know.
We have
Roger would be the one who says squirrel.
You can probably see me in the background of both here at the back cave. Why don't you say hi, Tommy?
Nice.
Well, it's always cool, man. You guys are on though, because I learned something. I learned a new word today, micromoles. That's pretty cool. I like that. So
I lost my train of thought. What was I saying? Sorry.
you were talking about getting high and going over to Spectrum King and getting them high, and it's not helping.
Apparently, there's a goodie convoy coming through down the 101 tomorrow.
Allegedly.
It might stop in Canoga Park, which is very exciting for us.
You were talking about what you were extracting that you. But you can't
Yes, the land race. So
Mhm.
we got a chance to do a bunch of extraction this week on some land race stuff from Southeast Asia, and it was very cool to work with. The terpene profile was complete. So I've worked with a lot of different hybridized versions and much more modern strain stuff that came up to about in the last, I would say, 2 to 10 years. And the terpene profile on them was just phenomenally different than the land race that I have from Southeast Asia or the land race that I have from Jamaica. That they're just, it's not even comparable. For example, one of the land race strains we have from Southeast Asia tastes like vaporizing sweet melon juice.
Mhm.
Oh,
It tastes just like sweet melon.
If you get,
I couldn't even like honeydew melon. It was like smoking a honeydew melon.
Honeydew.
couldn't
Oh,
even
man.
believe it. I was so floored by the flavor. I was like, this is way more unique than anything I have. So
did you find that the unique terpene profile also gave you a very different experience?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really peculiar to see the different, and not only that. So some of the stuff that we're working on, and I'm trying to think of how much I should say and not say. I know. No.
Well, how about this way?
Give me 5 seconds. Let me 5 seconds to get permission, since his mic's muted too.
Well, he's muted. You know what you were mentioning. Brandon and you guys. I'd love to. All right,
what we realized is that we have a very, very pure product, but the problem that we have is that the testing equipment currently can't identify most of what's in our product. We know that most of it, we're running like ludicrously high terpene levels, but they can only test for 23 in the United States.
Did you see the latest count that the Israelis said that they're up to 213 distinct terpenes?
Oh, the last one I read was 187.
I'll introduce you to some people in Vegas that can do it.
That can help you with that.
Yes, that would be great, because we will have samples of our stuff, and I'd love to give them some.
When is Vegas?
I'll take a sample too. Yeah.
When is
He's
Vegas?
like, I'm a tester. I'll test it.
Yes, for anyone that's not not in the know and not really plugged into the industry, if you're looking to go to the I would say the World's Fair of Weed,
Yeah.
Go to Vegas next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. The MJ BizCon.
This is insane. I mean,
It's
600
psychotic.
vendors, like 20,000 people. It's just.
I already have 40 meetings for 3 days, and I'm sure that's about to go up a lot. The demand, if you're a company out there, the potential for you to make new business connections, meet vendors that could benefit your company, you name it. If it's cannabis related and they're remotely involved in the industry, it's there. This is the biggest event of the whole year.
And there are other shows that are specific towards other things, but as far as that you just said, from A to Z, a weed, it's Vegas, baby.
Yep.
Well, see, you know what's interesting? You can fly from here to Vegas for like nothing because they do those. All I got to do is throw $500 up to say that I might buy some chips or something at the casino, and then just cash it in for $500 and go to the weed show for about $100. I mean, used to be able to fly a round trip like from $99 to $199 to Vegas.
Still can.
Of course, that means I have to go to the airport though. God.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing. It's a little bit trickier when you're bringing samples.
TSA.
Well, it's not wouldn't be tricky for me because there's no reason for me to bring anything to Vegas. I don't think.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I don't think I'd need to. I got a few friends out there.
That's like bringing a hooker to a whorehouse. That's pointless, you know.
Right. Well, yeah, you don't take. Yeah, it's like what you don't need to go when you go to
Vegas. Got a legal hooker in Vegas.
Despite all of you say, I still bring my medicine that I grow from here to Vegas,
just in case. Because someone
no. The nice thing about Vegas is
I got to get on a frickin'. I got to go through an international airport.
So let me just express this. For those of you guys watching internationally or in the United States, both apply. Nevada is the only place on earth that honors out-of-state and out-of-country medical marijuana licenses.
That's right.
The only single place in the world that honors them. So if you are a medical marijuana patient, regardless of what state you're in, Nevada will sell you cannabis products if you have a valid license in the state of residence.
And if you're in Oregon, you can fly with it only inside of Oregon.
Yes. Any state that's legal, you can do that. Once you cross any other state line, it's a federal offense. So if I fly from San Diego to San Francisco, they don't care.
So, I regularly fly from San Francisco to LA with up to 8 ounces on me, and it's completely legal. The legal limit in California as far as airports is 8 ounces, and you can absolutely carry up to 8 ounces of concentrate or flower. Currently, as up until January 1st, when I think there's a little bit of a rule change, but not much. I think it's 4 ounces. I think they reduced the limit a little bit. But as long as you cross your I's and dot your T's and
have the right paperwork, have your stuff on you.
Have your medical card on you. You can fly completely legally on an airplane within your state. It's, again, like he said, the moment you cross the state line, it becomes a different
federal offense, and then you run into a Trumpkin type who's going to want to arrest you, boy.
Now, with that being said, I went and asked the TSA agent that patted me down and gate raped me. I'm sorry, groped me. Checked me for.
Now you know why I don't want to fly to freaking Vegas, even though I want to go fly to Vegas. Now you're bringing it all.
I thought you said you wanted to get groped.
He wants.
Well, I'm a little bit lonely. I'm polyamorous, but most of my partners are very far away, and it was nice to have someone touch my privates for the first time in a little while. I'm not gonna lie. Anyways, it's always great when you wake at them and you tell them that, and they feel really awkward. It's great, especially when they're a trainee. It's even better.
I told him they missed the spot.
Yeah.
No, that's a job. Do it right.
I tell them to rub my groin again. I'm still not horny. They always get uncomfortable. Anyways.
Why? Oh, I love that though. Yeah, but
look, if they're gonna touch my nuts, I'm gonna have some fun. I do stand up. I'm gonna fuck with people's heads a little bit. It's if you're gonna go that far, and you know what? And to be honest with you, which one of us won? America and their freedom, or the guys that intimidated us to make people to get groped at fucking airports?
That's right.
I think we all won.
I think they won.
Junk at the airport. So
that was their whole point. That's what they were trying to do, and they accomplished what they were trying to do. Disrupt our fucking day-to-day life. You can't even fly from one place in America to another place in America, without getting groped.
In that regard, the terrorists won 100%.
That was their whole. That's what they wanted.
I just wanted to hop in and say there's a video somewhere that I don't know what state it was. The guy got pissed.
Can't hear you, David.
Butt naked.
Hello?
Did you guys hear any of that?
We can't hardly hear you. That's why I stopped you before you went on a long thing we couldn't hear.
No, there's a guy in some state who actually got butt naked in front of the TSA. It's on YouTube. It pissed him off, and so he just pulled his pants down and ripped his shirt off. Funniest thing you ever.
Did he get on the flight?
I'd love to get on a
I have
plane
no clue.
with like the only thing that keeps me from being arrested for indecent exposure would be like a piece of cheesecloth and maybe some spray on the spray on latex paint they use for women.
Yeah.
You know, when they cover their boobs. I think that'd be hysterical, just to rip off your thing and still be technically legal, but like as inappropriate as possible, just to like prove the point. Because this whole thing is fucking ridiculous. Look, Israel has a far higher security threat and doesn't deal with 2/3 of the bullshit that we deal with. Explain to me.
Because Americans in general are, it's a fear-based society. It's what we have. So they like to do social control to keep people in line. That's the whole process. But the same token, if they caught some asshole with a bomb on them, I'm happy they did.
Yeah.
So, what's the little groping amongst friends considering that death is the option? I'll take a little groping over death. Maybe I'm crazy, but that works for me.
I think with me, I'm just so freaking impatient. Okay. Standing around in a freaking line for 3 to 4 hours.
My point is a simple metal detector plus a bomb sniffing dog will defeat every single time. You can't get past the dog with explosives. It's that simple.
Right.
If you rub capsaicin on it, you could.
Well, if you're extremely motivated, you might be able to get by once. But to me, it's a better method, and that's just a personal argument. Again,
but
I have no problem.
That we're getting away from what we were here for.
Oh yeah. I have no problem with the whole cannabis thing in airports. I never had an issue.
Yeah, the dogs don't need to be known for that. I mean, come on. Nobody's going to bring down the plane.
No, and they don't now. They don't now. I mean, I'm pretty sure everyone on this podcast has traveled with cannabis at this point, and allegedly.
True story. I was in Turkey recently, unintentionally. I was the connecting flight going to the show in Vienna, and I had gummies and edibles on me. In my pocket, plain sight. They told me over to pat me down, put the stuff down right in front of them, just smiled and stood there, my hands up, and they put the stuff back in my pocket, walked away. They never even looked at the label and said, 10% THC or 10 mils per dose, whatever it was, right there on the package. I just turned it face down, just smiled and waved. You don't get excited, you don't act panicky, they don't look.
Yeah, they're looking for panic and they're looking for explosives. They're looking for.
If you're sweating profusely and staring away, you probably need to be checked out.
Yeah.
I love Turkey, by the way.
People that are going to kill people. They're not looking for stoners, and that's something that people need to realize going through airports. And I go through airports at this point in this last 2 months every week. I've been through an airport, damn near. So, again, they're not looking for flour. They're not looking for concentrates. They're not looking for bongs. I got a chance to talk to the guy from the TSA here that groped me the other day. I was starting to talk about that, and he said, "Look, we're not looking for bong." As I asked him, I said straight up, like, if I bought a bong on the plane, what would you do? Can I bring my bong? I wanted to bring a dab rig. I wanted to ask before I got ballsy enough to try that one. So the guy goes, "Look, if it's clean, and then we can't ban you. It's for tobacco use."
Right. It can't have any cannabis residue on it.
Exactly. But if you got residue on it, they're going to turn you over to local police, and they'll probably get you a paraphernalia charge.
And it's still federally illegal everywhere, people.
Hey, boys, I wanted to say hi and all that. I've been working. I'm actually listening to the show. I just wanted to hop on during break and say hi to everybody and let you guys know I am watching and listening. So,
well, enjoy your support, brother.
I'll be on next week if you give me the option again. But I've just been working a lot of overtime and
always, brother.
Got to have that money.
You're part of the crew. So, it's all good. We all got to do what we got to do.
Everybody take care of yourselves, and we'll talk next week.
Great.
All right, I
I
might
think,
talk to you later if possible.
On that note, does anyone have any other questions for Orr and Brendan? They've been with us far beyond what they
Yeah.
originally agreed
Yeah,
to be
just,
on
you
for
know,
this week. So
anything else, or worst case scenario, just save them for next time or something. But let me know. Give me a fair warning because we got a lot of trips coming up. Vegas in a couple weeks or next week. Then a couple weeks after that, I got to go to Australia or shipping me out of the country.
actually, hit me up before you go to Australia. I met as recently this past weekend did a big talk at the Aquaponics Association, and they have a lot of Australian people. I'd love to put you in touch with a few more people that you can go meet with and make some more connections.
Cool.
I love that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
We met a really cool store owner who bought a whole bunch of our stuff that's up in Brisbane, and we're gonna be down in Melbourne or Sydney. Where the hell am I going?
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, shoot me an email because that's exactly where some of these guys are that I met
Okay.
some last week. So
Cool.
Cool.
Well, we'll talk about it tomorrow when you stop by.
absolutely.
And I want to. Oh, go. And I want to say, yeah, if you're willing to try to figure out something to work with me, I'd like to do anything testing or anything else you might want to do. If you want to rig up something, I'll do a side by side against a 600 watt HPS.
I get this.
Good.
I'll put this idea forward. If you had something that worked well but was physically unattractive, would that bother you?
No.
Okay, then.
No.
we have a beginning of something on here. I think the doctor sitting next to me can operate on something that would work within a much safer budget.
Wonderful.
That's what I'm talking about. Yep, a little bit of that. Yeah, because we do have my friend. I don't know if you know Aquaponic Dummy, and I know y'all want to get going, but he hasn't been on the show, for a lot of personal reasons. Plus, he's going to school take botany courses concerning microbiology and stuff. It's really cool what he's doing.
He's very plugged into the main legalization movement.
I'm gonna run to the garden real quick. I'll be right back.
And he bought the Citizen or Cree cob light kits and made his own passive system and hung, with aluminum, angle iron and all. And he's getting great results. I mean, that was a super cheap way to go. But with me, I want to try Spectrum King because I believe, from what I've seen, you guys are amazing. I love it. I love it, the fact that you're a light company that's doing this, not just a pot light company. See, I thought that was really cool, which a lot of people don't realize when you're on the show, unless we talk about it, that you are actually a real big commercial company that does that. I also love the fact that you grow and you know what the hell you're doing.
Well,
really seriously to figure out exactly the finest way to grow. And that's what blows me away. You got to stand behind you guys,
What's
I love
your
it.
company slogan?
Yeah, I know. I was thrilled when I saw Brendan and Orr here tonight. I was like, oh, cool. This will be a good show.
That's why I said our company slogan is one simple thing. Plants don't lie, people do.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, like, straight up, the episodes that Brendan and Orr have been on have been the highest viewed episodes that we've had, both concurrent viewers and post after we post the YouTube video. Hands down, you guys have been so educational. We get such good questions. You guys go off on very good educational tangents on topics that matter to the industry, and you guys really have an amazing source of knowledge. This is why we keep inviting you guys on the show. You guys have been on the show more than any other guest we've had so far now, being the third time you've been on. You guys literally have been on the show more than any other guest we've had that isn't a panelist.
Well, we appreciate that.
Thanks for
I just
having
thought
us.
they were waiting for a train wreck to see which one of us falls down first. But hey, if we can help people with answers, is what we do. Unlike other companies, we want the whole movement to go forward. So if we all work together and share knowledge, better things are going to happen.
Exactly.
Right.
We all have what we keep close to the vest to make money, but we can share everything else, the stuff that we aren't monetizing and we aren't going to, we all know a lot about different areas, and this is what the show is about. Marty and I started this show originally, and I know he had a quick deal with probably his munchkins, but we started the show originally because people told us you couldn't grow cannabis in aquaponics, and we're like, no, I know you can. I've done it, and I have scientific proof and lab testing and pictures and everything else.
One of the most cost-effective ways to grow cannabis is in aquaponics.
Exactly. In fact, here you go. Here's a picture from
Marty's.
Marty.
He's going to show you the vivid light here. Here comes the vivid light.
There you go,
Well,
Marty.
that's not the vivid light on the right. That's the cheap.
Those are the Chinese knockoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are the first couple of LEDs I bought off of eBay for like $120 each or something like that. And it was like 3 years ago now. So I've had them for quite a while, but you can see just last week, one of the panels is out. See that?
Yeah. No,
So,
I mean, the company.
That just means the power supply is out or a connection is broken.
Yeah.
It's a simple fix.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a power supply, but I've been waiting for that to happen anyway because I'll probably tear them apart and replace them with better drivers and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So that'll be a fun little project to do. But this is the Vivid Grow light, so you can see it's much more spread out.
Yeah.
And
Right. So
I
actually,
guess
I'm glad we
it's
bring this up. Let me bring this topic up real quick. Just if you guys need to run too, I wanted to bring this up real fast because it backs up what Fish Ganja guy was mentioning when he did the Spectrum King versus Black Dog run, was the fact that the blurple, which is what both of these fixtures are, produces more infrared and in turn more heat at the leaf surface level. And what that does is it reduces your THC potency and increases CBN potency. So yes, it will make it more stony, but it will actually make it if you're trying to do this for resale value, it'll reduce your
quality goes down.
Your ceiling on your resale value will be lower because your maximum THC is lower. The number one factor that affects resellability is if you can have the highest THC, you will actually be able to get a higher price per pound than someone that has a 1 to 2% lower THC round and a head-to-head kind of sale to it.
When I see what you call the blurple light, I already know that it can't compete. You know, adding specific to a fixture, but that, I mean, I can look at it with my naked eyes. Yeah, a plant will grow. It's not called weed without a reason. It wants to grow. But if you want to, across the board, terpenes, bigger weight, and everything else, you need to give them a better light source.
Yeah, I mean, you notice with those light sources, because they have a lot of infrared, the plants will want to reach those stretch looking for that sunlight. That's why plants stretch. They're looking for that intense light.
Yeah.
Right. And so like this, when he says blurple, he's talking about these two fixtures over here. Yeah. This would be is a mixture of white and red, which is, slightly different.
It's still blurple. Well, it's not the full white.
Yeah, well, it's red dominant, which means it'll stimulate chlorophyll B production specifically. But that's again when you're trying to get secondary metabolite production, which we mentioned earlier, and a better overall plant, better terpene profile, you need full spectrum light for that to happen. Will it grow under that? Sure. If I lab test against that, will I be threatened? Hell no.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll still be.
And we're not saying it's a bad light. Everyone has the tool for a different application. Everyone, everything has.
So their tech behind the spectrum they have is is they want it to still lean heavy, similar to an HPS light, and still have intensity, and then still have that baseline of white. As you can see, it's got a heavy amount of just straight white diodes in there. And so it's not using what the reason I don't call it blurple is because these have multiple color LEDs that are all individually inefficient, as opposed to these over here.
You can call that a hybrid, I guess.
Yeah, I don't consider this anywhere close to full spectrum.
Yeah, they sell it as full spectrum, though. That's the thing. That's what we're educating people. That thanks to Brendan and Orr come on the show.
These white ones
that's full spectrum, but it's
are
not
full spectrum. Well, all of the light coming out of one diode.
Marty, wait a second. Yes, those white ones are full spectrum, but if I take a reading of that fixture at 1.5 feet away, you'll see that it's going to be a red dominant peak. It looks, I'm guessing, but about 660 or somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly right.
What 660 does is stimulate specific chlorophyll B production and photosynthesis, but it's like when you make the perfect pasta sauce, but you don't put the other ingredients in. Yes, you have your tomatoes, but what about the garlic? What about the basil? What about, it's going to be there. The plant's going to grow. It might even look okay when you take it under regular light, but aroma, taste, flavor, everything else will not be the same.
Right. So that's why I asked you guys about a low profile light that would be all white, essentially, because that's what I would really like to test this against. Would be because obviously you'll put the spectrum to test in the same way we did before.
There's 12 diodes per module on that fixture if I'm seeing it right, and it looks like there's 3 of all 12 are white. Is that accurate?
6. Yeah, that's correct. 3 of 12.
So what
Yep.
that looks like to me is a mounted frame of actually security wall lights repurposed into a fixture. So I can't tell the lenses from the look that we have here, but it does look
Which is
reminiscent of a
so
security
heavy.
fixture, you know? And a lot of those factories in Shenzhen in China, they send her the emails every day. I get 6 to 12. So I know exactly where the stuff's made because they keep trying to get our business. Well, we keep making our stuff here, but they keep asking us. Yes, they can make it cheaper and they can make those fixtures that way, but the quality of light output over time is nowhere near the intensity you want to have for a fixture you're spending good money on.
Yeah, I'd like Steve to take a look at the flowering unit tomorrow and give you his thoughts on it, Marty.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Me and Old Fart Crows will be up there tomorrow. We're gonna go drop off. We gotta run up to Santa Ana and do our drop off of the Emerald Cup.
Hello.
So we'll be
When
up
I
there
move into
with
the
Spectrum King on the way back.
when I move into the new house, I'll be setting all this up again, and I'll actually have more room over there, even though
Subtle
the
hint.
room is
Yeah,
smaller.
subtle. Yeah.
Like
Marty, just, all you guys, seriously, we're here to work together with people. We'll find a way to make something work. We just have to figure out what, where, how, when. I'm sorry, we got to bounce. I have other things I got to get doing too.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
no problem.
We're all very crunched
I
with
don't want to
the,
overstay my welcome, but I stayed an hour longer than I thought I would. And
and I apologize.
blowing up like a pinball machine.
Good night.
No, all of us are very crunched with the convention, so I really appreciate you guys' time. I'm glad I could
thanks,
give you.
guys.
Much
Appreciate it.
appreciated.
It was
Thank
great
you.
every time. See you
Thank
soon.
you, guys.
Cheers. I'll see you guys tomorrow.
I always love having them on the show. I tell you what, it's a so upbeat show too. It's like it's moving when we have them boys on the show.
I love having those guys on. I do apologize for taking up more than our time than we originally intended. But we, again, I tried to get them off the hook about 45 minutes ago, and we kept having a conversation, which tends to happen with them.
Well, hey, they're big boys. They can go whenever they want. It's free country.
Well, not only that, they provide some of the best information we've had on this entire podcast in terms of detailed information, explanations as to why shit happens, why things grow the way they do, why their lights are different than the others, why
they
certain
work.
lights behave a certain way. And not only that, just good lighting information. Look, you don't have to go Spectrum King. I get that sometimes their stuff's a little bit pricier on the higher end, especially when you go to large scale lights, but they give such good information to help you be better educated even if you're not buying their light, on how to properly evaluate competitors' lights at the very least. It makes it, for really good content on the show, and I always love having them on. So thanks again for them coming on. Be sure to check them out. Instagram, they're Spectrum King. Hold on. Double check. I think it's Spectrum King LED. On Spectrum King. So there's Spectrum King LED. Spectrum_King_LED on Instagram. And then there's SpectrumKingLED.com for their website. Their YouTube channel is Spectrum King LED. And, if you're looking for additional content, they also do some amazing grow journals, side-by-side grow tests, and a bunch of other stuff. So if you're looking for, supplemental content beyond just this episode, I highly suggest checking them out.
Well, I'm stoked. Laying the foundation for getting a Spectrum King custom made for my grow room. That's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love those guys.
Well, like they
yeah.
said, when you
And
said
not
about
only
you
that,
can
they're
have
very
more room in
supportive.
your new house, they said, "Yep, that's a subtle hint." Like Marty wants a light too.
Well, not only that, Fish Ganja Guy actually did a big side by side where he bought a black dog and bought a Spectrum King and then ran them side by side so that no one could say that, oh, well, he got this for free, or they've already been on the show, or there was no kind of any.
I don't mind buying a light.
Well, no, I'm not even saying that.
No,
not
They
saying
weren't
that
giving me a light.
Exactly.
They said they could make it
I'm just saying.
affordable for me. That's all. That would mean I won't get a
Yeah.
fancy
And
chassis.
even if they did, we're gonna base this on test results and based on what grows
Right.
better and document the whole thing. Marty is incredibly awesome. If you guys haven't had a chance, check out Marty's channel, AP Meds. Marty does great side by sides and then shows you from the time he transplants all the way through, so that there is no hiding or making up for bullshit or being paid off on his channel. You know, and he'll
Love that.
show you. You know, he's legit. He shows you what happens. It doesn't matter if it's good, bad, or the other. He shows you what the hell's going on.
Yeah, I think it's kind of pointless. Like if you, if something fucks up, you know, like otherwise you're just there to show off, you know, like, you know, I think the people that are actually want to help people learn aren't really afraid to show them when they fuck up, because then you hope that somebody else doesn't do the same thing you did, you know, like, you know, in some of my earlier grows or different lights that I've used, or, you know, just being able to say like, here's what I did, you might as well check it out. And so, you know, I think like, what was it, my second or no, I think it was my third indoor run. You know, I had PM pretty bad, and yeah, you get trolls that come in there and start talking about it. But you know, that's when I learned about some of the stuff that we talked about was, you know, the temperature swing and how to combat it, and you know, started making horsetail fern tea. And so, you know, I figure if you're going to do this stuff and put it out there so that you can help other people learn to do it, you might as well show them when you fuck up and learn from it, because then they might not fuck up the same way that you did.
In my case, I actually fuck up on purpose just to show them. You know, sometimes I say, well, I did this. Like I start something, I say, well, okay, now I didn't keep, like I've water stressed the seedling to death, you know. I've gone that, I mean, I do that stuff. And so exactly. And that's what I love about this show, because there ain't no bullshit on this show. And we're not backing up Spectrum King because they're good buddies of ours that have been on the show, but their light's been proven by one of our panelists, you know, with a side-by-side where he did buy 2 very expensive LEDs, and they're both good lamps, but one Spectrum King whooped the other ones but a little bit. I mean, to me, you've been happy with the Black Dog light.
Yeah.
But what you got out of the Spectrum King was better. And so I don't think the price was that much a difference. And that's the biggest thing with me. And this is the one thing I wanted to tell them too, because I forgot to tell them when we were talking about this grow that I was doing and having success. Well, this last grow where I've got, for the first time ever, almost everything has a super cool, badass scent. Its own unique scent. And I used the metal halide all the way through. I also attribute that to a smaller yield. But I got tighter buds for sure. You know, I've been listening to this, and I've known this for 12, 13 years, and I've done it before, but I kind of got away from it when I got the fancy digital lamps. And actually, I've got lamps where I usually use metal halide for veg, and then I switched to HPS. But this time, because of what I learned from not only Spectrum King, from Brandon and Orr, but our friend, I can't remember, but from Black Dog that was on, it was also very informative and had a lot of great science he shared. About the blue light and the metal halides and all. And we all know that there's a lot of old school growers out there that they believe in totally metal halide. They don't grow with big super HPSs. They grow with, like, you know, I mean, back when I started, the big light was a blue iHortolux blue. You know, it was about $120 for one lamp, 1,000 watt. But I mean, I'm going to tell you what, you better wear some really serious glasses when you go in there, because it's like walking into a room with the sun. And I got to it this time, and I will say one thing to everybody. All the way from start to finish, I got a lot tighter buds. I'm not sure. I did some different experiments, so I'm really not sure whether it was strain genetics or whether it was the light, the metal halide, or just the fact that I did some extra stressing on the plant. You know, I got a much smaller yield than I've been used to for the last couple of years. But the quality is unbelievable. I think the cooler light allowed the terpenes and the flavor to really come through more than what the hot red HPS might have done. So that's the end of
Yeah,
mine.
I found the same thing with ceramic metal halide. It just really brought out the terpenes, like just the smell and the flavor. What, you know, I feel like it was better, and obviously lower temperature as well. So
Right.
I haven't ran my other lights at all since then. I've left the ceramic metal halide in there, and I'll have those running in the new grow as well. So I'll be doing 12 plants indoor over the winter time, and then moving outdoor for the outdoor season. So that'd be nice.
Well, I tell you what, it was nice. It was real cool because the fact that, and it was those kind of things, like, because I got that from, people talking on the show, the light, not just the lighting people, but you. And I think it may have really come from you, some of it, where it reminded me that I'd been wanting to do this for a while, to use the metal halide. And it was a 600 watt. So, I mean, I didn't give away a lot of light, but it definitely ran cooler. And I'm able to run my lamp only like 18 inches above the canopy. So that's great for light penetration because, generally they say, when we're running 1,000 watt, magnetic ballast, they were talking like, well, you want to keep that thing 24 to 32 inches. But and this for you people out there, when we talk about the distance of the light, LEDs are different because they talk about this footprint, and they're talking about leaf temperature and stuff like that, as opposed to where we used to talk lumens and all that. But what I do, best way to know where your light's at the right place, if you're using HIDs, whether it be a metal halide or an HPS, is you put the back of your hand at the top. Where's my? I got a different setup tonight. Oh, I'm off. My camera's off. Hold up.
So this is more what happens with an LED.
You put your hand at the top of your canopy, right at the top of your canopy, and if your hand is hot, your light is too close. If it's gently warm, it's perfect. So you want to, as the plants get bigger, you want to make sure you just move that light up simply. So if you put your hand in there one day, you walk in there and you feel heat on the back of your hand, raise your light a couple inches. That's all you got to do, raise a couple inches. But what I loved about the metal halide, I was able to get it so much closer. Like, well, I don't know where I am. Damn. So much closer than before.
Yeah, yes. This plant here, it's got light bleaching on top.
Well, you remember you're talking to a semi-blind guy, but yeah, I can see I think I can see that. Oh, yeah, it looks lighter on the top because it's light. It was too close to the lamp.
Can I butt in for a second, just because Tommy and I need to get rolling here before too long? I'll leave the podcast rolling, but can I just cover real quick the Aquaponic Association recap before we?
Yeah, sure. Actually, I gotta get going too.
Then you guys can talk about whatever you guys.
No, we're just shooting the shit. Having fun.
I don't mean to interrupt. Just Tommy and I are very much under a timeline till tomorrow morning, so
that's fine. I gotta go.
Go for it. We're just rehashing stuff. I just
wanted to give a big shout out to the Aquaponics Association. I had a chance to speak on aquaponic cannabis production. We had an incredible response. As a lot of people learned a lot of different things from the cannabis industry. Could greatly benefit their lettuce production. We had just absolutely incredible response to the presentation, and it was very cool to see Charlie Schultz presenting as well. He's part of Purity Medicinals, which is the company that I'm part of now, as well as Ken Armstrong, who owns Ouroboros Farms, speak on their. Sorry, a little tired.
Steve.
Sorry, I'm tired today. It's very. I've been working too many days for 18 hours plus per day this last week. That's all. But basically, it was really cool to hear Ken talk on his commercial experience, hear Charlie talk, get a chance to vibe really hard with Nick Sandoval, and some of the other people that were there. The gentleman that was with us, Pedro from Puerto Rico, he was really awesome to finally meet him in person. And it's a really great experience, and kind of realized us people, and if you're from the vegetable world, then I apologize ahead of time. But basically, those of us in the aquaponics industry that are working with cannabis are pretty well far ahead of everyone else. The only two people speaking on probiotics, speaking on lactobacilli, speaking on a lot of these other stuff that we talk about here regularly. It's speaking about nutrient density and a lot of this other stuff. We're all cannabis producers or people interested in the cannabis or medicinal herb industry or, on the very far end of research, one of those three categories. So it was really kind of awesome to see that we're, those of us doing aquaponic cannabis really are on the far edge of the technology and the advanced end of the what we can do with aquaponics, and how this is going to be back applied to the vegetable and other production that's in the industry, and help us make the aquaponic technology really where it needs to be, rather than just kind of in the holding pattern of just lettuce that we've kind of been stuck in for whatever reason. People haven't innovated enough and haven't really been attacking the problem in the way that I really feel like they should have been. And it was nice kind of to present to people that really absorbed the information in a way and understood it in a way that was really kind of very much relevant to their industry in a way that they haven't been exposed to before. And I really feel like we're kind of pushing the edge on that, and it's great to be part of this show, and great to have all of you guys in this community to feed off of, to help kind of push all of this forward, and to be on the bleeding edge of it.
Very cool.
So thanks for everyone for coming out on that, if you were in attendance.
Good to see everybody. I'm going to get out of here because many miles to go before I sleep.
Good
All
luck,
right, Tommy.
Tom.
Good to see you.
I'm going to I'll be around if you guys want to just do your wrap ups real quick, like Gordon and stuff. I actually have to run. I gotta go help out Tommy. You guys can check me out on Ponics on YouTube if you're listening to the audio version, and I'll let everyone else introduce themselves, but we do have to get running here.
Oh yeah, you can check me out on AP Meds is my YouTube channel. I have a Patreon, which is a little slow at the moment, but it's got a lot of content that I've sort of built up. Got a little harvest video from this one, and we'll do another harvest video and a curing video on that one. And that's all just revolves around home grow stuff. People that want to grow for themselves, aquaponically, things to consider. So whether you are a new cannabis grower or you are new to aquaponics, hopefully you find something there that you can benefit from. And check out the Facebook group, which is Aquaponic Cannabis Growers on Facebook. You can check us out on Rogers Forum. We've got lots of content on there. So yeah, thanks guys. Have a good one, and see you next week.
I
yes.
One last quick thing to plug. I actually did a really cool decarboxylation video today.
Oh yeah.
So if you guys are interested on more advanced decarboxylation, definitely check it out.
Cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, we've just I haven't bought mine yet, but David Hogmaster invested in the in a Suve that he got that boils the water so you can decarboxylate it. Then you can put it right to 118, and you're not running your oven for 7 or 8 days. You just put it in a big old pot of water. So we got that going on, brothers, and find out more about it one day. I do know the second step, which we haven't shared outside of the group, but Marty mentioned all the content you're looking. He was talking about it. ilovegrowingmarijuana.com. I run that forum, and a couple of our panelists are contributors and moderators on the forum, and we got an aquaponics section and anything else. We got over 500 articles and blog articles for you to go read. It's not saying this is the way to do it all the time. People don't understand that. It's a bunch of information, so you can choose your own way to do it. And so that's what I do. And I'm building a YouTube channel on Roger Lakewood. So I'm gonna start putting some content there, some older content that I've got, some proof, of different situations and different experiments I've done growing to show beginners what they can and how much they can actually expect the plant to give. Because it's hard to, I see people every day that they're killing their plants, and I just don't understand it. Because I try to kill this plant, and you can't hardly kill. You really have to be screwing up. I don't mean to put people down, but this is a plant that if you just do simple things and try to be simple instead of having all this complication all the time. And I'm not even saying aquaponics. Aquaponics is really The aquaponics is complicated, but growing the plant is simple. And even aquaponics, the way that the several different methods that we've learned, no, these guys are all different. But look, I'm going to stop talking about all that because this is the end of the show, and you guys don't want to hear me rant on that anyway.
We got a couple of we're hella tight. We got about 6 to 8 hours to finish all of our production. So
good night, everybody. It was a great show. Thank Brendan and Orr and Steve, Aqua Steve, and Marty, and for starting this show out because we have a blast and we all learn something every week.
That's what I apologize for the short episode this week and for being a little bit short. We're gonna have some really cool content next week. We'll be live from the MJ BizCon. I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do for the show next week, but we will have at least some kind of shortened show. It might only be half an hour or an hour. It's not going to be the full 3 hour. I'll tell you that right now. But we will have some kind of show next week. We're very busy next week, so with the biggest show of the year. So we'll have something, even if it's from the showroom floor or some after party or something. We'll have some kind of short, even if it's a 15 or 20-minute episode. We'll have something. So. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for everyone for watching. We'll be back again. I do apologize for the issues last week with Ed Rosenthal. We will have him back again in the next 1 to 2 months.
Yeah.
We're going to cross schedules. His schedule is obviously almost as busy as mine at the moment, but him and I are working together on 2 separate projects, so he'll be back on.
He's cool as shit.
As soon as we're both physically able, we will get him on. I went and fixed his audio, so that won't be a problem in the future. So that's all been straightened out since him and I saw each other last. I personally fixed it myself, so we won't have to worry about that. Oh, I know, right? I'm an asshole for going and fixing this stuff.
Anyways. No, I can't believe I can't. Well, sometimes say my thoughts are when you get to that show next week. Why don't you do some sound check before you start the show?
No. We did a sound check before the show. We didn't have the issue. We had a problem with the audio. We did a sound check. It didn't work. We got it straightened out. We went live, and suddenly we had a different issue than we had when we in sound testing. And I apologize to everyone.
We'll get it back though, Steve. It was cool, but it was the wrong night to have that happen. You know what I mean? We waited.
I was in a hotel with garbage internet connection.
Yeah,
and everything else. It was like a worst case scenario, and there was literally we tried everything, and we just could not get it to work out in the middle of the podcast. It went to shit. So,
and I apologize to everybody at the forum for the shit. Because the show just abruptly ended last week, and that's never happened before. So we all apologize. I still do this. I don't exactly know what happened last week. Everything was fine, and then the podcast just died. And when I tried to log back in, it said the podcast was ended. And then I had to just launch a new YouTube video. So again, I do apologize. I honestly don't even know what happened, but where I'm at now and where I'll be at in the next few weeks, I can guarantee my internet connection. So, well, hey Steve, why don't you go get some sleep?
I don't have time for sleep right now. I need to actually go back to work, but. Thanks for everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys again next week. And check out the YouTube channel if you're looking for some more cool content. We'll have some really awesome stuff next week from MJ Bids. Let's see if I can say this. I'm too stoned right now. We just did a little bit of a dabby dabber. Right before the show, we smoked a joint and a dab, which got me a little bit fluffy. Thanks to my amazing friend Dorian. So. It's all his fault. I blame him.
Was Dorian hiding out there in the room tonight?
Yeah, he's hiding out.
Dorian, come on.
Anyways, we'll give him credit again next week. So, anyways, thanks to everyone for watching. Check out Ponics on either YouTube or on SoundCloud, and then I think it's redistributed through a bunch of podcast networks now. I've been trying to set up more and more. So. Cheers, and thanks for everyone watching. We'll be back again next week. Thank you.